Hello, I'm Alex Grubard. This is Grubard, a scenester podcast of some kind, where we talk about different scenes in culture, art, whatever, politics maybe. I'll interview a politician one day. Get Stephen Fulop
maybe, yeah. Which politician would you want to get?
Just because I'm obsessed with Jersey City, let's get Stephen Fulop on the pod.
Who's that?
He's the mayor, current mayor. He's running for governor or something.
Damn, dude, I'm bad. I should know that.
Well, with me today is Jesse Montanez.
Yo, what's up, guys?
Thanks for doing the pod. We're recording here at Pet Shop in Jersey City, New Jersey, a town I'm obsessed with for some reason. And, it's so great. I love this town. But
It's got that charm.
It does have a good charm.
It does have a certain charm about it that makes you just, even though it's bad, you're like, but it's nice, you know?
I love that it's like a niche city. It's like people ignore it. It's like not on the map.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Like, why would Jersey City, New Jersey be on the map?
Nobody knows.
Like, that's not it would be a ridiculous thing for us to be like a big city.
Yeah, to be like well known.
Surrounded by two better cities.
Pretty much. Newark and
and Hoboken and New York City.
Yeah.
We literally have a better city on every side except Bayonne.
Except Bayonne.
They're our Mets. You know, we can we can beat them up and hate on them because nobody likes Bayonne.
For some reason, also, like, everybody knows the word Bayonne and the word Hoboken, and you say Jersey City, and people are like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
If I wasn't from here and someone was like, Jersey City, New Jersey, it'd be like, you're full of shit. There's no Jersey City, New Jersey, you know?
Yeah. Sometimes I get a document from the city, and it'll be like City of Jersey City, New Jersey. And you're like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, but you know what? I like it. It's literally our New York City.
It is. It's our thing.
We just named it exactly what it is.
Yeah, right.
This is the city of New Jersey.
Yes, absolutely. That nobody thinks of. We're talking scenes today. So I want to hear. Yeah, I know a little bit about. I've heard you tell a tale of being in a bunch of bands when you were younger.
Yeah, I was rolling in the music scene.
And where are you originally from? I mean, I know.
I'm from Patterson.
That's what I thought.
So Patterson, New Jersey, shitty town.
Which is another one of those like big five cities. Like there's a bunch of P cities all in North Jersey that are all like tied together. They're all garbage.
Yeah, you know? Yep, yeah. All the P cities suck. That's true.
What is Patterson like? You know, growing up there, did it feel like you were in a city?
I guess, but not really. No.
Nah.
I mean, it's big.
Yeah.
It's over. I think it's over 150,000 people.
Yeah.
So it's a bigger city.
Right.
It's bigger than like big cities in whole other states, but I don't know. Maybe because there's no way to get around Patterson easily. So you're kind of like stuck in your spot. It's buses. You know, like
public transport.
There's no public transport in New Jersey. You know how it is.
Oh, I know.
It's get a car, you bum. You know, like
every road just points at New York.
Yeah, so like the hoods of Patterson don't really mix.
You just stay in your neighborhood.
Up the hill, down the hill, South P. You know, like
okay.
Hillcrest. There's all different things. They got all different names.
So there you go. So you're, when did you start playing music, really? And what'd you play?
I don't know why. Like in like 7th grade, I wanted to be a rock star because why not? You know, who doesn't?
Yeah.
And I saw someone playing the guitar, and I was like, it's too much. And then I saw the bass, and I was like, that has 4, seems a lot easier to play.
There you go.
And I bothered my parents to get me a bass guitar, and it took about a year, but I got it.
Nice.
In like 8th grade.
Yeah.
And then I just they gave me like lessons for a little while that I stopped doing.
It's the bass.
Yeah, it's the bass. And then in high school, all my friends wanted to be in bands, and I had a bass, so I was like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just got into playing that way.
Were you a calloused fingers, play with a pick?
I'm fingies.
Yeah, you got it.
You got to play with the what are you playing with a pick as a bass guy?
That's why I brought it up.
You got to you got to put the finger down and just bam.
Slap it.
No, it was never a slapper. Not great at it. That's not my skill.
It's hard, right?
It's one of the it's the harder thing to do on the bass, like to get the slap and the pick.
Yeah.
It sounds cool, but like,
totally.
You know, I'm a rock guy. I'm not a funk guy.
So what? Yeah, exactly. I was thinking it was like funk stuff. So what are these bands when you're playing them? You know, are you guys like
Punk bands, metal bands?
Yeah.
So I did that, and then a friend of mine started going to this music school.
Okay.
And he put me onto it, and my parents paid for it for like 3 months, and then they were like, "No, we can't pay for it," and they gave me a scholarship. So I basically like went to a musical school for like most of high school, pretty much free.
That's awesome.
So I have a lot of music knowledge.
Was it like instead of high school, like a performing arts high school?
No, it was like an after-school program, and they just gave it to me for free.
That's great.
Which is cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
what
so
was it?
You ever heard of School of Rock?
Oh yeah.
School of Rock gave me a full scholarship.
And
I didn't
like
pay.
kind of a chain or something?
Yeah, they're a chain.
That's what I thought.
So my parents paid 3 months, and then they told them, like, we can't afford this because we couldn't.
Right.
And they were like, fuck it, because they had a lot of, disadvantaged people there. So I kind of learned a lot of music and a lot of instruments and just a lot about music.
That's
just
awesome.
being there for, like, most of my high school years.
Was it in Patterson?
In Montclair.
Oh, okay.
They're not doing that.
Well,
they're not doing that for children in Patterson. You have to take the trick if you want your children to have a better life is you have to take them to white towns to do white children activities, and then let them get in there that way.
I mean, hey, you're doing an after-school program in Montclair instead of just like wandering up the hill sort of street in Patterson. Yeah, that makes sense. So punk bands. Did you start out in punk? Or you kind of started out in metal, or what was the first? How many bands? Like, walk me through like each band, kind of one by one.
Well, I was only in like 2 bands technically.
Yeah. You guys going to the garage? Somebody's garage kind of thing.
Yeah. So like in early high school, all my friends had a band, but I was not in that band. I was bandless. Just getting cucked.
Yeah.
Just everyone was playing music except me. And I wasn't really that social. I didn't have like that many friends. But then like halfway through high school, we started a punk band called Point of Anxiety.
Point of Anxiety.
Yeah.
Where did that name come from?
The lead singer named it, and we're like, fine, that's cool.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm down. And we played like hardcore punk.
Nice.
For a while, and then we started to do some pop punk. Started mixing both, and then, it was a high school band, so we broke up.
What was your kind of the influences like, especially the hardcore stuff, like Dead Kennedys? Or you like, what was big then?
I had actually never learned hardcore punk.
Oh, okay.
I only knew hardcore.
Oh, I got you.
So they said hardcore punk band. I was like, oh, we're gonna do like, Terror or The Ghost Inside, hardcore music. And then they showed me that shit, and I didn't really like it that much, honestly. But I was like, I really want to be in a band.
Yeah.
I'll pretty much do anything to be in a band.
For sure. Yeah, I get it.
And I was like one of the guys that like it pushed the band to change me. I'm the one who led the mutiny.
Oh yeah.
the pop punk mutiny. Yeah.
There you go. So then what were you listening to pop punk wise?
Oh man. When I was a kid, when I was like in high school, I think it's the best time for a pop punk ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like 2010 to like 2015 is the best run of pop punk.
So what do you talk me through it?
The Wonder Years.
Yeah, all right. Because that's such a big Jersey thing.
Yeah, Wonder Years, always. A Day to Remember was huge.
Where were they from?
Ocala, Florida.
Oh yeah, got you.
Who else? The Story So Far. Walnut Creek, California. Some rich boys.
Yeah, right. SoCal has a lot of stuff going on.
Man Overboard.
Oh yeah.
I think they're NorCal. I'm not sure. Maybe they might be Midwest. They might be Chicago. There's so much good bands, dude.
That's great.
Unlimited good bands. It was awesome.
That's sweet. So yeah, you guys are like.
And then the classics.
The classics.
Newfound Glory, Blink-182, fucking Silverstein. All the classic stuff that everyone thinks. We did that too. We always loved that too.
Were you guys, and you're doing originals? You just like messing around playing covers? What are you doing?
We did like. Because when I got to the band, they had like 3 hardcore punk songs that they had already written. It was a brother tandem of singer and guitarist.
Classic move.
So we played their songs.
Yep.
And then it was myself, my friend X, and my friend Sean who joined the band. Then we started making music that we wanted to do.
Cool.
With them. Obviously, you see the mutiny?
Yeah,
You see the mutiny coming?
You're taking over.
Yeah, we're taking over. So then we had 4 pop punk songs, and then we did a cover of the story so far. So we were taking over. It was
your thing.
It was bound to not work.
So how long was a point of anxiety? Or a point of anxiety
maybe a year and a half, not long.
Are you guys trying to play shows?
Yeah, we did shows.
So tell me, we
used to do shows at the places that we do mics. We used to do
really?
mics.
So this is also fascinating.
Yeah. Do you remember that mic on Mondays in Kenilworth?
Nah,
do you remember that fucking bar?
Any more from that?
I can't remember it. I think Gordon ran the mic. Gordon Baker Bone.
I do know. What was it? 10th Street.
10th Street Live.
I was at 10th Street. Was before my time.
We used to do 10th Street for shows.
Wow.
In high school.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Fucking empty bar. Empty bar, or it's filled with old black people who did not want to hear hardcore punk music.
There's just a guy in the corner being like, "Is this a story so far?"
Yeah. So we would literally do you remember the Boiler Room?
Yep.
In Garfield, which is now closed. We did the Boiler Room. Yeah. We were like that.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
So then when you started doing stand-up, obviously, I
was like, 10th Street.
Yeah.
I knew these places.
But
I didn't know that they did stand. That was the combination of the worlds.
So crazy, actually, that you could kind of do it as a teenager. You could be playing music.
Yeah.
Which could be more hardcore than comedy as a lifestyle. And
dude.
I mean, obviously not the way we do comedy, but then but if you tried to go as a 16-year-old to do stand-up, at those same places, you might not have even been allowed.
Oh no, they would have definitely let me in. I see all the kids. I've seen plenty of kids do stand-up.
I've seen it too. I was one of those
Meat
kids.
Locker.
Meat Locker. You guys were playing Meat Locker.
Are you kidding me? Meat Locker is the crown jewel of New Jersey punk.
Yeah, right.
That's the spot.
Certainly
it sucks in there.
Yeah.
It's authentic.
What was that place down by Trenton? There was City Gardens or whatever. But that was closed by the time
we never really.
It was already closed.
Trenton is so far for our old 17-year-old us.
You couldn't have even. It was. You would have been 10 years old when that place closed. I bet.
Yeah, and also we never. I don't know. Maybe because I'm a North Jersey guy.
Yeah.
The idea of traveling south is completely ridiculous to North Jersey people.
I get it.
It's when they're like, "Go, you can go here." It's well, why wouldn't I just go to the city?
Sure.
You know,
for sure.
So a lot of our shows are in the city.
Oh, you guys went to the city.
Well,
walk me through some of those places.
Oh man, I can't remember any of the names.
Well,
but the city, always in Manhattan.
Okay. Yeah.
But the city actually has a very specific sound that they like.
Oh, interesting.
Where if you go to different places, you'll be you would notice that only certain type of bands come out from there. When I was playing hardcore music like that, the city was deathcore, grindcore metal.
Sure.
That's all they wanted to hear. They were not used to hearing anything else.
I remember being younger, certainly, and going to see shows and I grew up outside Boston, and I went to college in Philly, and but my dad always lived in the city.
Yeah.
So I was going to shows at all 3 of these cities, and kind of even we would travel farther. So it's not just Boston. You're going to Worcester, you're going to Lowell, you're going to all these other mass towns. And
you really say them right.
Yeah.
Worcester.
Worcester. I could throw the accent on there.
There you go. Was little Grubard walking around with an accent?
No, because we the town I grew up in. First of all, my parents don't have that kind of accent. Mm-hmm. We had, sometimes my sisters would make fun of me because I would be saying sentences in half New York, half Ohio. My mom has a little bit of a Midwest thing, and then my dad has that real New York kind of thing.
I'm walking over here.
Yeah, exactly. And I had friends that had a bit of a thick Boston accent, but mostly that there's kind of a thing when you're outside 490, like between 495 and 95, you kind of don't have that accent. And then on the other side of 495, Central Mass, Worcester, and all that kind of stuff, they get it back.
Yeah.
So like, there's the suburb I grew up in, for some reason, like that we just didn't have it. Nobody had it.
Oh, so there's whole like neighborhoods where they don't have that accent, and then some where everyone has that accent.
Totally.
That's
yes.
hilarious.
It's like definitely like a northeast southy kind of accent, and then like you get back into Central Mass, and they have the accent.
Do you understand how lucky you are?
I do.
Not to be born in the accent zone.
Oh, I kind of wish I did, because I love it. There's some. I mean, I know Boston accent is disgusting, but I love it so much. I think anytime I talk to somebody and it's thick, I'm like, you're the best. I can talk to you forever. Just tell me and read the phone book, and I'm into it. But what I was gonna say is, like, in all these like Boston clubs mostly, and any of those places, like, we were always moshing. We were always getting in the pit. And everybody did, you know, and then same in Philly, like they were always like rowdy. And then you go to shows in New York, and I feel like people just stood there. And it was kind of like one of those things where, like, it was, like you said, a very specific Manhattan style. And I was going to Manhattan, like.
They're more of the spin kicks guys, where like, also the pit intensity changes in places.
Absolutely it does.
You know?
I do know, yeah. So you're playing these Manhattan places.
Yeah.
And you're playing in Jersey, North Jersey. What are some of those other towns? Like, obviously, there's the places that had mics, but were there some other ones that what was your favorite place?
My favorite place. You know who was always great? In Boonton, New Jersey.
Oh, I've heard
Boontoons.
Oh, really?
I always loved that spot. It was standing room. You can get 100 people in there.
Shit.
It was a good spot. A lot of good bands. It's Boonton, so nothing's really happening.
Yeah,
so people just show up.
Yeah.
It's kind of trendy. It's a cute little town.
People were talking to me about stand-up there and stuff.
Maybe it's the middle of fucking nowhere, but
Pretty sweet.
We know how we do.
Yeah.
We can always build something. But Boontoons was so cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we used to go out because then we had some boys out in PA.
Oh, okay.
So we would go out to East Stroudsburg.
Wow, that's a hike.
Yeah, but it's fucking worth it, man. The town likes the stuff. They don't have anything going on. They have this beautiful theater.
Oh, cool. You guys getting in the van? Like one of the guys had a van?
Yeah. It's getting, like taking 2 or 3 cars down.
Yep.
Bringing the stuff. It's dope, dude. It was the best.
That's sick. That's so sick. So, Point of Anxiety lasts about a year. What's the next band? What happened with the Mutiny, too? Like, how'd that
Mutiny,
story turn out?
So basically, we got the one brother on our side. He was down, and then he just felt bad, and we were like, it's this guy's band, and he wants to make his dumb, that music. So we just all decided to stop being a band, and we took the brother.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah.
We took the brother, and we got another guy from a second band that other people had been in. You know how band stuff is.
Absolutely.
It's always like fucking your exes. Everyone in bands fucks all their exes. Everybody's band, like everyone fucks everyone's ex in a band. And we just like got a screamer, and we fucking became a metal band, like a melodic kind of like Misery Signals.
Nah.
Remember Misery Signals back in the day? That was a fucking awesome band. Like Ghost Inside, just like melodic, hardcore, a little bit like Kill Switch Engage-ish.
Okay, yeah.
We went for that, and I think that's when we started going to New York and started meeting like people who like we don't know how to deal with this,
So how long what was that called?
That was All We Are.
All We Are.
Corny name.
Yeah,
terrible.
That's how those
name.
bands names were back then.
Yeah,
they were all like that. And that's when you go into the city.
Yeah, that's when we start going into the city and actually meeting up with like real metal bands.
Nice. Did anyone like that kept going or like wound up in another big band or something like that?
Another comic, Joey Rosenberg, was in the same metal scene as us.
Oh, that's
I didn't really know him that well.
But
I heard of his band, and his band was pretty popular.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's dope.
No one really got popular around us. There was this band, Shake That Bear. when I was like in high school who they were pretty good. They were like, remember when everyone was like, we're fun, but we also like to scream, that kind of music. They were like that, but they were like 2 years too late.
Oh yeah, right.
They were just 2 years too late.
Yeah.
If they were like a year earlier, they would have been like the biggest band. You know, would have made like probably $1 million on one tour. But you know, you're 2 years too late. Nobody wants to hear anymore.
They're just not looking for that sound.
Yeah, but they were great. So they were, you know, it's you go from making a $500,000 tour to making like $20,000 on tour.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, very different.
Yep.
When you're touring for a year.
For sure.
So that was like the only popular band that I knew about.
But that's pretty big. That sounds like a big.
No, that's not. That's for a lot of touring to make only like $20,000.
I get
between people.
The other, yeah, I got you. Yeah, between people. Well, how long are these tours? You know,
like a couple weeks.
Were you guys touring, or were you guys doing like gigs?
No, we were gigging. We were children or in early college. You know, like, but you know. You came across, you know, like we did shows with like Forever Came Calling, which was like a popular band during the time, which they're nothing now. Nobody knows. If you know Forever Came Calling, you're like a 2010 between 2015 pop punk kid.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the problem with like gigging. Just the bands or nobody knows them. You had to be a kid during my age and like the same exact music I liked at the same time.
Well, that's why it's like we're documenting this stuff. That's one of the reasons. It's about scenes. It's about the scene. You know.
Yeah, Forever Came Calling was
Wikipedia
awesome.
Page about it. Yeah, well, cool. And some of these stuff, I'm sure you can find some stuff. Like, did you guys record ever?
Yeah, but I don't know if we have it anymore. Well, I don't know if it's on the internet anymore. It's fucking garbage. You know.
What was that experience like? Like, where would you record? You know, were you going to School of Rock and being like, we're doing this, we're taking your equipment?
So the older brother in that band put all his effort into being a studio engineer after that.
All right. So
then we recorded with like his like 2 mics.
Yep.
And then had to put out a terrible demo. You know, you know, and this was back in the day, man. This was before a lot of what we have now. We were still burning CDs.
Yep.
And giving them out to people. That was still a thing that was very smart to do. Mm-hmm. That was like, oh, they're thinking like this is a smart business move.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like, so it sounds like we're idiots.
Well, who knows? Who knew that? You know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, SoundCloud was around.
We streamed it.
Yeah,
it was on the Spotify and stuff like that. But like, first of all, people didn't have Spotify at the same level.
There you go.
Not that many people had that.
Yeah.
You know?
That makes sense.
And they were like, why would I pay $10 for all this when I can just, you know, download it off the internet for free?
Right.
You know, like so much has changed that the streaming stuff has changed it all.
I remember when Napster came out. I remember when CD burning came out. And we were obsessed with that, you know. So you knew somebody with a burner.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, man, make everything.
Exactly.
Give me all your stuff. And then I remember, you know, when Napster was coming out, and we were just like, you know, spending hours downloading one song.
Yeah.
You know? I remember how that, and now it's ridiculous. You know.
I thought that was the best time of listening to music in my life, because you couldn't just get one song. To get what you wanted, you had to download the entire album.
Mm-hmm. I see what you mean.
So I would literally listen to a band's or like an artist's full album. Right. Which who does that anymore?
I know, it's so hard to
who
do.
listens from an album first track to last track?
Yeah,
that's unheard of. Mm-hmm. Everything's singlified now.
Yeah,
but back in the day, they actually had album concepts. You had to listen to every song to understand what was happening in the album.
That's so
You had
true.
to listen to it in correct order. It was telling a story. It was kind of dope.
Yeah.
That does not happen that much anymore.
And then again, that was like an era of concept albums.
Yeah.
Especially in that kind of like, melodic hardcore, kind of like punk, you know.
Coheed and Cambria.
I was just about to say.
There was a book to the songs.
Yep.
You know, like,
they have comics and everything.
It was dope. Mm-hmm. It was like ultimate nerd shit that just is not around anymore.
Yeah. Totally.
It's very crazy because of the internet. Like we thought it would be great for nerd stuff, It's been terrible for nerd stuff.
Yeah, well, it's too many niches and too many, it's hard to access this kind of stuff, and like it's hard to support that kind of stuff anymore. It's hard to be like, I'm gonna find this. I remember being like, I'm gonna get every album off like Vagrant Records.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, or like Drive Thru or any of these things, and it's hard for those companies to still even exist.
I don't even know one record label anymore. I used to know so many.
Yeah.
It used to be the biggest thing, emailing labels.
Oh, yeah? You guys were doing that kind of stuff.
Yes,
man.
Yeah, emailing labels and then be like, no. I'm not even going to answer this. Like, you're lucky I'm answering this. This is bad.
That's crazy. Yeah. Who are you emailing to? Like, what was the dream, like,
oh, man.
On?
Me, probably Rise Records.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because if you were a hot scene band, they had the hot scene audience. And that's also the thing. Back in the day, getting on a record label was so important. Yeah. Because you had to build yourself a little bit, and they would build up so much more to help you. Absolutely. You could be a band with like 400 real fans, and they sign you and they think you're good. They put your music video up there, and you got 70,000 fans. Now. Yeah, it was different, you could get a tour going, and they actually helped you. Yeah. Now labels don't. The record label does not want you until you already don't need them. Right, exactly, and you're not going to make any money off the album really anyway. Yeah. Either you're a plant, either they catch you when you're nothing, and they put you into their system, or they want you when you're huge. Yeah, right. Of course. If you're not getting picked like literally right at the start, you better fucking. I mean, that's entertainment now. Yeah. In general, it's kind of like you kind of need to be. You need to pop immediately. I think the same thing with stand-up. It's like if you're, I mean, I love it and blah blah, but there. As far as like becoming massive, it's people want to know that you've been doing it like no time at all. Yeah. Are you Drop Dead Sexy? Sorry, I can't. Exactly. Yeah. I can't. Actually, you can't. You're not even funny. Yeah, there's nothing for you here. Right. So, how long did that band last? So that I was so nervous for that because that's kind of like when I fell out of love with it. Oh. I just didn't really want to do music anymore. So I had left the band, and then I taught myself how to play guitar, and I thought I was going to do solo music, and I always in the back of my head wanted to do comedy, but I was like, I can't do comedy. I already did this embarrassing thing and failed, And all my friends are going to make fun of me because I'm going to do another thing and fail. Sounds like you guys did pretty well. I didn't do well. So I left the band, and the singer left the band, and they replaced us, and they became a pretty successful band. Oh, really? Yeah. So that I see you're one of those guys. Yeah. Founding member. Yeah. And so they they were very popular throughout New Jersey, Amberry Lake. I think people who were like in the music scene around that time knew Amberry Lake. They were like they changed to like an alternative. They stopped doing the screaming at all. Once that guy left, it just became a full alternative rock band. And we're pretty good. Their music is on Spotify. Oh, there you go. I'll still stand for my homies from 20 years old, 21 years old. It's actually pretty good alternative music. That's cool. Like it's a good rock album. That's awesome. Are they still together? No. Well, yeah, that would be great. They dropped that release album, and there was I don't know the tension just broke them up. Yeah. And nobody ever really made music ever again like that. I mean, I'm still friends with all of them, and all of them make music to a different extent. But that band was special. It's hard to keep a band together, Just a group. It's having to fucking deal with 5 different people and emotions and everything in it. That's why I love stand-up. There's no one in my way. Right. When I want to do something. If I want to do something ridiculous on stage, there's no one to answer to. Yes, absolutely. I'll just bomb if it doesn't work out. It doesn't matter. So wait, how long after you left that band, and how old are you when you leave the band? I'm going to say 19, 20 years old. Okay. Were you in college? Like what? In college. Yeah. I would sit in the library between classes and watch stand-up.
Yeah.
And that's why I really fell in love with stand-up. I always liked stand-up a lot. Like, throughout high school, Kevin Hart was my favorite comic.
Yeah,
that was when he was hot.
All right.
When he was, exactly.
Yeah.
That's when he popped, was when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
He was a huge deal. I watched everything, loved it. Then I turned 18. I found Opie and Anthony.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And then that opened, I found Bill Burr, who brought me to Opie and Anthony, who brought me to Patrice O'Neal, who brought me to, Louis C.K., who brought me to Jim Norton.
Right.
And I just kept going from there.
Yeah, I know. It just branches out.
Yeah, scream laughing in the gym. I mean, or like in the library, watching Elephant in the Room, people looking at me crazy.
Shh, keep it down.
Yeah. Finding Dice Clay. Dying in the library, like holding my mouth. People think I'm crazy. I'm the crazy guy laughing in the library.
That's such a funny thing to like find dice.
Yeah,
it's
perfect for a 19-year-old,
right?
To find dice.
Dickory dock.
Yeah, come on, dude, it was the best.
Rover
took over.
Rover took over is like one of the funniest little weird punchlines, like delivery-wise too. Yeah, man. No, Dice is crazy. I mean, watching those Dice specials too. He is a rock star. Like, he looks like a fucking rock star. He looks like one. He talks like some sort of badass,
He's the man.
He made it cool.
His Instagram is hysterical.
Oh, really? Like, still now?
He fucks with people on the street.
Oh, really?
He'll just, like, walk up recording to him, "Are you George?" and it's just a guy talking on the phone. It's like, "George, I'm not George, buddy." Like, just him fucking with people. He doesn't give a fuck.
Why would he?
I think, I love Dice for his not giving a fuck.
Yeah.
The day the laughter died.
I was just about to say, that's my favorite Dice thing.
And it's not funny because, I mean, it is funny, but it's funny because he doesn't care.
It's amazing because he's eating it and then he's crushing.
Yeah.
So he's eating it and he's crushing. And for like 2 hours, it's insane. And he clearly doesn't. My buddy and I think I already referenced it on this at another recording where my buddy and I used to just do that quarterback. Get it? Like, over and over to each other. Because it's crazy. He just keeps doing it to nothing. Yeah. And it's like meaningless. It still doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
And I don't know. He loves it in the moment. And it's like, this is so sweet.
But I actually think he's in like an insane flow state that people who only do comedy understand. Where it's like he's on that entire time, and he wasn't not funny during the times no one's laughing.
Right.
It's just no one's laughing.
Yeah. Well, supposedly there was like barely anyone there. It's like Christmas Day or Christmas Eve or something.
I think they said it was like 14 people at Dangerfields, which is like the worst, known as the worst club.
Yeah. Absolutely. Terrible club. Fucking, yeah, exactly. It's like
nothing
a holiday,
day. Yeah.
He's just fucking around for hours. It's insane.
Didn't they say he would do those after the show? Like, he would do a sold-out show and then go to Dangerfields and bomb for hours. And then the next day, go back, do the sold-out show, do his material, and then go back in and be like, all right, we got to work on...
Yep.
I got to bomb for another hour and a half. I have to.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a comic. And he had the ability to. I mean, he's one of the first guys to really, like, he could drop in anywhere. He's fucking, he's massive.
I want that so bad.
Yeah.
I want to do that to someone.
I just want the drop-in thing.
I want to do 45. I want to be up there at, like, Arsenio Hall for 2 hours. While some young comic's like,
oh, God. But I can't say anything. It's Jesse Montanez.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Or I would love to drop in on, like, a show, bomb my ass off, and then go to the kid, follow that. Yeah. Follow that, kid. I think I would have so much fun as, like, a guy who could drop in anywhere.
Yeah, for sure. It sounds like a blast. I mean, just that anytime you bounce from show to show, like when you have multiple spots in a night, it's so fun. Or even if it's like the same place and you're like,
you feel like the man.
Here 2 or 3 times tonight. It's the coolest thing in the world. Yeah. There's nothing like it. And you can't do that with music. You can't do that with, like, almost anything. But you can do it with stand-up.
Music is a different catharsis, though. when you're getting up there and playing, because usually they give, a comic, you give 20 minutes, you're like, damn, that guy can do 20 minutes, 20 whole minutes. As a comic, or like as a musician, they're like, yeah, do 20 minutes. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like you're playing music, you don't have to do that.
Right.
You're going to do 4 songs.
Right, exactly. It's 4 songs.
So you get a lot of like up there time with them, and then people just like music.
Yeah.
It's not like comedy where you could be hilarious and someone will hate you.
Yeah. Well, like comedy is much more like you have to think, where music, it's more of a feeling and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a whole other type of engagement, with stand-up. Like, you have to be there for it. It's like somebody's looking at their phone, we're immediately like, fuck,
I hate that guy.
Person. There's no way he's enjoying it. Yeah. Because you can't pay attention to 2 things at once, and you need attention.
Full attention. So annoying.
Yeah, and they have to be processing. Like, they have to really be hearing what you're saying and reacting to it in the moment.
Yeah.
Whereas music, like, you're kind of, it can be a vibe. You could be talking and
music, you could easily enjoy a song the entire time while looking at your phone.
Yeah.
And actually truly enjoy the music and have a great time. Be like, that was amazing. Even though I'm playing a game on my phone right now. You can't do that with comedy.
No,
it's just not a thing you can do.
So when you started doing comedy, like, how soon after was it? Like, you're in the library, you're watching it. But like, when did you go, like, all right,
that's
I'm
not
getting
even
back
it
into
yet.
a thing?
Then it was podcasts. Then I found podcasting.
Right.
And then not even then, it was still, I still felt like I couldn't do it. But then Big J. Okerson was on Joe Rogan, and he was so funny that I was like, I gotta check out this guy's podcast. And I found Legion of Skanks, and then I found like all those guys, Gomez, Soder, List, Norman, and I was like, oh yeah, because a lot of the times when I did watch stand up, like, that was relevant when at that age, 19, 20, none of it was funny to me. Anything that was hot, it just wasn't funny to me.
What do you mean? Like who?
Like the people that they were putting out. Like, no, I'm not trying to trash comics,
I
but
guess like on Comedy Central, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like Kreischer, like
I got you.
I just didn't. Even like Segura, I thought was funny, but I didn't think he was that funny.
It wasn't the same. I get what you mean.
It wasn't it wasn't Patrice O'Neal to me.
I know, and like Patrice was already dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Really, 2011 or whatever.
So when I found that, I was like, specifically like Nick Mullen, I was like, oh yeah, this is what actually I think is funny. And I was like, okay, so this is like a thing I can do. And then I started just writing for years.
Yeah, you were one of those people.
Yeah.
Got you.
For years. Did an open mic at 21. Trend Coffee and Tea.
Oh, it was I remember in Montclair?
And this was not in Montclair.
Yeah.
Not the Mark Henley mic. This was the music mic.
Oh, I got you.
And I went up and bombed for maybe 2 minutes. And I was like, I'm good.
Yep.
I'm out of here.
That's enough for me right now.
Yeah, You
guys want to hear 4 songs?
Exactly. Well, you know what? When a girl fucking like rocks a Rihanna song, and then you gotta like go up there and you're like, oh, go Geese. That was my thing. I had a bit on Geese that I was like, oh, I'm gonna fucking kill them right now.
Yeah.
There was like a guy in the front. He was wearing an Aussie shirt. I didn't even know what crowd work is. I tried to crowd work him. Like that bombed. Everything bombed. Like I went through like 9. You know how it is when you're new and you're like 9 premises just going. You're like, that's everything.
Everything is a question first. You guys ever get attacked by a goose? You guys ever whatever? A million things like that.
Yeah.
You guys ever eat cheese?
Ate shit.
Yeah.
People were walking up to me telling me I'm brave, which is the classic sign you bombed. And that really hurt me. That was hard. Like taking that rejection.
Yeah.
And it took me a whole nother year to come back to stand up.
Got you, yeah.
But when I went to Rivara's, and there was like a community there. There was cool people, now it's kind of people who are famous or don't do stand-up anymore.
Oh, yeah? Who's that?
Yeah, like Monty Mason, who's like a successful, like upper New York guy.
Yeah,
New York's, and then Dan Polzello, who is like he's big on Instagram. He's got like a gajillion followers.
All right.
He started around the same time I started.
Oh, interesting.
Danny Flaherty, who never was anything as a comic, but he was Sid on Skins, the U.S. version.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy to see that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it failed in one season. Sorry, Danny.
But to be like, oh, we were doing a mic, and then this person's like on a TV show.
Yeah.
Even if it's one episode.
Yeah.
It doesn't, let alone like last.
Poor guy thought it was, and I feel bad for Danny because he had a lot of big roles that just, and I think a lot of actors like this just never goes.
Yeah.
It just never goes to full on production. You know?
Yeah, I get that. Right.
Like he had I think he told me he had a movie. They wrote it. They got it. Contract signed. I'm playing Will Ferrell's son in a movie. They go, we're just not doing it.
Incredible.
You know?
Unbelievable.
We're just not. We're shelving it. Maybe we come back to it, but we're not doing it right now. You know, like that happens all the time.
Huh. Jeez Louise.
That's acting.
Yeah, that is acting. Here, I want to check where we're at. Yeah, sweet. Well, yeah. So I know what you mean. Like then you're in these other scenes.
Yeah.
Did you? And yeah, years after.
So then I'm just doing mics, and then you know how comedy is at the start.
Yeah.
Nobody talks to you. You don't know anything.
Sure.
And people are. I don't know. Especially when I started here, it was not a young person's scene.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And I was 21, 22. Yeah. You know, like. Very young, nobody was my age, so no one was interested in talking to me or having me come to mics and bomb, you know? Right. So people were very withholding of mics when I started. It was a very different scene from when everyone came through.
Yeah,
you know?
Right, I know. There's an aspect of, I remember that feeling too when I started of like, nobody's my age. It took years for people to start being like my age. I grew up a little bit and people started coming in that were, you know, people don't start in New York that often. So like, or back then, you know, so like people move to New York when they're like graduating college. Finally, like people were my age. Like all of a sudden it was like everybody's my age.
Yeah.
But they were all starting at, you know, 18, 19, 20. In wherever.
Yeah, in Omaha.
In Omaha and Florida and stuff. In college, you know. A lot of people start in college and they do college mics and small coffee shop stuff in that area in a college town.
I wish I had that too.
Oh, I wish that.
Because they had a comedy class in my college, but they didn't like outsiders. Because like I was a guy who, I mean, I started doing comedy in college just going to open mics. You know, they were doing it at school.
Yeah, adult one. I know, and I
because
I had the same thing when I went back to school. And like, you know, there were a lot of people. You know, we were running mics and we were running like a class. And
I was running whole shows. You know,
and like, but those people would like never go out.
Yeah.
Into Philadelphia, which has a ton of comedy, and it's like, I know you guys are getting up like once a semester because we throw a show, but. Get out there.
Yeah,
you know? But
they don't want to hear that. They don't like you. You know, they have like a resentment towards you because, you know, they think, oh, this guy thinks he's a real comic. And I'm going to be honest, I am a real comic compared to you.
Yeah, right.
You know, I was totally a guy who does it once every 3 weeks. I do it 3 times in a day. You know,
yeah, right, exactly.
I'm way more polished.
Yeah. Exactly. And they're just trying it out. I think a lot of people feel that way when they're in school. They're trying a lot of things. You know, they're in a bunch of clubs, you know, and that's just one of them. So that's, you know, it's...
Worst bomb of my life.
What, doing the class thing? The student organization or whatever?
Yeah.
What was that like? What was that kind of place like? Where did you go to school also?
I went to William Patterson. I went to a mic. Had a really fucking bad day. Went to a mic. It was pouring rain. I didn't know. I only knew one guy there. And I just went up. They didn't fucking like me. Like, started heckling me immediately.
What?
Yeah.
College kids heckling?
Yeah. And you know, it was like I was losing, obviously, because it's a whole crowd of people who don't know me and don't like me.
And they all know each other. Yeah.
So I'm just getting ripped. But they're not taking me off stage.
Oh.
They're not taking me off.
Huh.
They're not lighting me. They're not doing anything. So I'm standing up there. Just going back at them, you know?
Doing your time.
Just doing jokes, going back and forth with them, trying to get them to laugh. Nothing. And I was at some point I was just like, I'm going to break you. You're trying to break me. I'm going to break you.
Yeah.
You're going to wish I left. And I was like, I think I did like 45 minutes. And
wow.
Just going back and forth with them, and someone would be like, "Someone, please get him off, please." Because I was just like, "Yeah, no, I'm a dog. I'm gonna make you wish you didn't do this."
Yeah.
And they just took me off.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Finally, kinda. Whoa, that's crazy though.
Yeah.
Was that the first time you did that amount of time?
Yeah. It was the worst. I felt terrible. I almost quit right there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's so insane. What was this like student org like? Were they doing meetings or were they doing just running an open mic?
They would literally just go into a room, be like, you go up and you do comedy, and then they would like, someone would stand up there, but they weren't doing jokes. They were like talking to each other and doing like inside jokes,
I got you. Yeah, right.
And so I was like, obviously, looking back at it, obviously, there's zero chance I do good.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
It's for me being like, I am a real comic. I know none of you know me. It was like there was no way I was gonna do well.
That's so funny though. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, you're put in so many situations as a comic just to like figure out. You show up to a place, you have no idea what to expect, especially when you're newer. Even something that looks terrible, you have no idea it's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
Until you get off and you're like, wow, that's atrocious. I should never have even come. What was I thinking? Who knows what you're expecting, You don't really know what comedy is yet.
Having to walk after you bomb for 45 minutes in the rain, it's like 20 degrees, and you're like just trying to get back to your car that's 20 minutes away because you're on a college campus.
Yeah. You have to walk all through campus.
Yeah.
I know.
Dude, on the day of my graduation, as I walked with my fucking diploma, I saw one of the guys who was at that moment. He saw me and started laughing. And I was like, I know that guy remembers me.
Wow.
And he was like, that was the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen.
That's incredible.
I have to be something.
Yeah.
Just to let that guy know I'm not a fucking loser.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he quit. Fuck that guy. I mean,
he wasn't. He never even went up. He was just hanging out.
Oh, he was just
a guy hanging out.
He never even went. He never even did it. Fucking keep your goddamn opinions to yourself.
But I remember that and be like, damn, dude. Shame came from a year ago of bombing like that, just getting ripped up.
Oh man, one time, that kind of reminds me. One time, my roommate and I did a show that actually was run by Nate. It was in Reading at the Reading Comedy Outlet, and my lady's parents were like, or her stepdad and her mom were like, they lived closer to Reading than they did Philly, so they were like, oh, we're gonna go to that. We were like, oh, you guys are gonna be there, so we go, and it's like a comedy club in a bowling alley. It's like terrible. And all right, again, one of those things, didn't know what to expect. You're just like, yeah, sure. And then you get there, they're like, half the audience, like there's 4 or 5 people there. It's terrible. And so obviously it's bad. And then years later, we do a gig like in their town, and it was like me and my roommate again. And Jed's stepdad just, as a greeting, goes, hey, it's the bowling boys. And fucking slayed us. It's like, yeah, roasted. You have nothing to say.
Yeah, you shrunk 3 sizes.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, it's so embarrassing.
Hitting the nuts.
At the start of comedy.
Yeah.
It's crazy embarrassing.
Yeah. You're just on the weirdest gigs, know?
Yeah, and you just hope, because you don't even know if you're good or not.
Right.
You have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember the first show I ever did, got roped in. I didn't know what a show was. I was hella excited. He said, hey, you want to do a show? I said, are you kidding me? I've waited my entire life for that. And he was like, all right, you got to bring 5 people. And I didn't think about it. I didn't know what bringers were. Yeah. I was just like, fuck, 5. I could bring all my friends.
Yeah.
And I brought all my friends to Scotty's Comedy Club.
Oh, right, there you go.
Made them drive 40 minutes out to Springfield, New Jersey, to watch the most dog shit show.
Yeah. Horrible comic after horrible comic.
Only good comic on the show was like Tim Lowe, and and I think Tim had started comedy around the same time I had started comedy. So it's a green, Tim Lowe.
which I can only imagine.
And that's my first show, and I did great.
That's awesome.
It was terrible. Everyone was bombing. I just did great, but I went so fast. It was only 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I did 3. You know,
to bring people to only do 3.
Yeah.
Like, fucking.
Well, I didn't know what to do. I ran out of jokes, but they hadn't lit me yet. So I started just be like, yell out, stop. You know, like going through that, and yeah, it was like.
Because you're killing.
Yeah, might as well. And fucking that's when I was like, maybe I might not. You know.
Yeah.
Maybe I might actually be good at comedy.
I remember doing my first bringer and literally went to an open mic before the first open mic I ever did, before I even performed. They're like, do you want to do a bringer? Like, do you want to do this show? And you're like, yeah, great. And I remember walking away after just eating it at a mic in front of 5 comics, going up after a 2-hour mic.
Yeah.
When nobody's there left. And I remember walking back to my dad's being like, I'm going to get passed at this club, immediately. I remember thinking, oh, yeah, they just asked me to do a show. I'm obviously going to crush.
Yeah.
I mean, you just have no idea what's going to happen.
No.
And that first bringer went really well.
Yeah.
And then you do it again, and you're like, oh, now it's shitty.
Dude, I was on top of the world, brought my friends to a second show, crushed even harder for longer, then brought them to a third show.
Yep.
Worst show. Do you remember Raj Dar?
Oh, I do.
It was the older Indian guy, really nice.
Yeah.
I think he was from San Fran.
Yeah, I think I remember.
And he brought all those San Fran comics. It was when Joe Gorman and True Dance, all those guys from San Fran moved over.
Yep.
And it was some Asian guy, Joseph. I can't remember his name. He was really funny. But we went to that show, and it was so embarrassing. Everyone fucking bombed.
That sucks.
That's how it is.
All in front of all my friends, in front of this girl I brought that I was trying to fuck.
Yeah, right. Oh,
even just better. Went up first and ate it.
I know. You don't even know the whole show is gonna be bad yet. You're first.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I was just like, I do this all the time. I'm killing it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's gotten better.
Yeah, I know I can tell when someone talks about a show to me if it's bad.
Yeah,
I have a better barometer for stuff like that.
For sure, it just comes with years and doing it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, but now I'm so nervous. Doing shows is now so much more nervous.
Really?
Yeah, because it's so much more at stake.
Yeah.
We're in a place where we can do it with a professional, and a professional might see us and help us.
Yeah.
So you gotta kill.
Yeah, I know. It becomes serious. There's a. We're having fun. We're fucking around. I'm learning what this thing is, and then you learn a lot more about it, and then you gotta take it seriously. And it's like, oh shit! Yeah. I used to just kind of have fun. Now I think about it.
Yeah,
it's work.
And you walk into a place and you see a guy, and you're like, this might be one of the 3 important sets this year. And you're like, okay, I'm gonna try. And you fucking bomb.
Yeah.
I know.
And
now this guy, now Dan Soder thinks you're an asshole.
I know. Well, you gotta have it. I mean, some people can be like that, but obviously some people are like, they get it. I mean, they might not hook you up with the tour, but as an opening act or some shit like that. But I think they understand that everyone bombs.
But I've also talked to headliners where guys who are young have got off stage at the club and they're like, this guy stinks. and I'm like, yeah, he does stink. I'm nervous because I have to go up.
Yeah, right. I'm great. So you don't watch my set.
Yeah, exactly. So it's so much more. Those sets mean so much more now than what they did before.
That's a really good point. It's super true. Well, I mean, I feel like we covered a lot of ground. Anything you want to plug or anything? Any final thoughts? Anything like that?
I don't know. I had an idea for a sketch, but it's unhinged. Can I tell?
Sure.
Can I tell you it?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a guy. He's eating tomato soup, and the tomato soup comes alive and starts talking to him. So a face in the soup comes out.
All right.
And he's like, and he's like, I'm tomato soup. And he's like, What do you mean? Do you mean there's no rules anymore? And the soup's like, no, there's no rules. We could do anything. And then the guy just fucks the tomato soup.
And you can do anything.
You can do anything. You can fuck the tomato soup if you want. It's a person.
There you go. Huh.
And that's my sketch idea. I'm doing that.
It's better than a sheep fucking, I guess. You know, it's an actual human being.
Is it, or is it just as evil?
It's certainly not for good.
Yeah, I mean, it's a soup, but it's also like it's talking. It's a soul.
Yeah.
Right.
It's too hot, man. That sounds like burn your dick off.
But what are you gonna do? Not fuck the tomato soup that's talking?
I guess you can.
That's the first thing that's gonna happen. Something's gonna come out. First alien that comes out, they're gonna be like, "Take me to your leader." He's like, "First, I need to."
My leader's in my
I'm gonna
pants.
come on you.
Yeah. Well, that's good. You don't got anything to plug?
Just Diablo Radio. That's my podcast. I do it with Pedro Garcia. Yeah, that's it. Jesse M comic on Instagram. Not a white supremacist 69 on TikTok.
Your TikTok?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
And then Jesse Montanez comedy on YouTube. I don't really post a lot on YouTube. That's mostly just if you want to see an actual set. I have an actual set up there and like clips. But yeah, most of the content is Instagram, if that's what you're looking for.
Instagram, great pod, Diablo Radio, super fun. I'm Alex Grubard on everything, Grubard. You can go to alexgrubard.com for all my upcoming gigs. I got some headlining stuff coming up. I'm going to St. Louis. I'm going to Hanover, PA. I'll be in Austin in August. I got some stuff coming up. I got a bunch of gigs up there. And I'm Alex Grubard on everything. So Instagram, all that stuff. Thanks so much for watching, subscribe, all that kind of garbage, Jesse, thanks for doing this, man.
Hell yeah, dude. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Of course. No, I was blessed. Peace.
Best